Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo. Yes, I still work here. Vikings end the season with a win. Highlights of that, plus the FCS Championship comes down tonight. Hot Mic begins now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. I was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the I Still Work Here edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning everybody in Sioux Falls, KMBN in Western South Dakota, and all parts in between at Inforum.com. Happy 2026. First Monday of the new year. Back in the big chair after a sojourn to Nashville. We'll get to that in a little bit. It was a fun weekend. I'm going to say here, first off, how I know that Sam has been filling in for me. I look in here, at and we're not going to show garbage off it on the air, but look, it's filled with energy drinks and coffee because the man's not used to waking up before 10 a.m., which he had to do all last week. So while I appreciate that, apparently he needed a little buffer to get going to start his day. Unfortunately for our listeners and viewers, I need no such liquid encouragement to get ready for a program. I'm pretty much wired like this. It's great to be back. Hope you all had a dynamite holiday. Back to school at my house, and I'm sure for many out there that are anxious to get back to a normal routine, that is what here provides. It is a Victory Monday for some. You're going to see again, there is no Jets attire out here. It's been over in the corner. It's buried there until probably next August. The New York Football Jets ended their season yesterday with a thud of a loss to Buffalo. No surprise there. Shout out to my guy Phil Hansen, who didn't miss an opportunity to text me to say, "Go Bills." It was the final game at the, I'll call it old Ralph Wilson Stadium. Used to be Rich Stadium, actually, when Phil was playing there. And the Jets ended the year, National Football League team, professional football, without one interception. Not one. Not one like falling from the sky on a deflection. Not one that was bounced off a guy's helmet and into a linebacker's hand. Nothing. First team in the history of the game to not have an interception. Other than that, the season was great. So that's why it will remain buried in our corner of our studio here for at least till next season. We got a lot to get to. As we mentioned off the top, we have the FCS Championship game tonight in Nashville. Let's fire up the poll question, Brody, right away here. At Hot Mike on WDAY on Twitter. Those, get your votes in now. Because I'm genuinely curious about this. When I was down there, and we'll talk more about this with Sam Herder coming up in about a half hour on the vibe of this game. Who's going to win tonight? Who are you cheering for tonight? I don't care about who you think's going to win. Who are you cheering for tonight? This is directed aiming at Bison fans here because there's a really interesting dynamic with this title game tonight. Obviously, you have the fan favorite in Buxton native, former Bison player, coach, and Brent Vegan, who's got his Montana State team there for the third time in 5 years. After last year where they had like their all-time team and the Bison beat them, now they're back. Or you've got Illinois State, who, of course, started this magical run, I'm going to say here. I know they won a game to get to Fargo, but I don't think anybody thought Southeastern Louisiana was going to win that football game. So the fact that they came here, beat the Bison, then went to Davis and won, and went to Villanova and won, is there a contingent of people say, you know what? We can't win. I want the team that beat us to win. I'm speaking for some Bison fans. I believe that's the case. So we'll fire that up and we'll see what the results are by the time we're done here at 11 a.m. We got a lot to get to today. We'll check in Nashville, as I mentioned. I was down there for the Walter Payton ceremony. You're going to hear from the winner and Beau Brungard coming up later on in the show. I had a chance to visit with him and Cole Payton. We had that in our news on Saturday night. And big things ahead for Cole is, if you missed it over the weekend, he got invited to the NFL Combine. He and Bryce Lance are both going to Indianapolis in February. That's a big deal there for their futures in professional football. And to me, excuse me, on the voting on this is still, excuse me, I got to just shake my head about it because, and I'm a voter, and I did not know who won it till the award ceremony started at 6. I found out at 6:15 Saturday night who won the award. I didn't want to know, even though I had a hunch who I thought was going to win, which ended up being accurate. But I did not have it correct on who finished second. I thought Cole was going to finish second. That was utterly surprising. So we'll get to that. And I've got full thoughts on what's gone down since I've last been here on the Bison football portal moves. I know we were all on that last week. Sam filled you in on who's leaving. Bison have actually added a couple players yesterday that were here transfer-wise for the upcoming season. So we'll get to that as well. But no shortage of topics to talk about here on an Overreaction Monday. It is Black Monday as well. across the National Football League. We've already had a couple of dismissals. Last night, Raheem Morris was let go by the Atlanta Falcons. And then today, former Viking assistant Kevin Stefanski was fired by the Cleveland Browns. We anticipate probably a couple of more. Las Vegas, maybe another. I don't know about my Jets. They signed Aaron Glenn to a 5-year deal. It'd be tough to part after one. But any of that, we will, of course, keep you posted on. Now to the Vikings, who were sitting here 6 weeks ago. They're at 4-8. They're not going anywhere. It's time to pack it up and get ready for 2026. And instead, what they decided to do was the opposite of that, was win games. Win games without their starting quarterback. Win games that cost them draft position. They had won 4 in a row. Heading into the finale against the Packers yesterday, we're playing with fourth stringers. Dallas Turner looked awfully good in the last half of the season. That's a bright spot. After basically a wash of a year in 2024, Dallas Turner was really good. They're off the edge, blowing up Clayton Tune. This guy, we still don't know. The jury is still out on J.J. McCarthy. This pass to Justin Jefferson, there was a concerted effort to get him to 1,000 yards. That happened all 6 seasons he's been in the National Football League. He has hauled in 1,000 receiving yards. That's a nice throw on the run by McCarthy to go down the field. Hit his tight end. And Urasek, that's a nice catch. You got to make that happen. It's a good play. That, you know what? Okay. Give us some thoughts for next season. It's a 6-0 score when C.J. Ham gets into the end zone. His second touchdown of the year. The emotion was overflowing there, knowing that this is going to be his last game for the Augustana grad, who's been a fan favorite, a Walter Payton Award winner for what he has done in the community. Got a standing O from the crowd after the game yesterday. It was a really, really neat moment that went down during the game, knowing that he's likely done. Harrison Smith is likely done. Here's the play we're gonna talk about for a while. A little swing pass. McCarthy then says, I got to come out of the game. That his hand or finger, whatever he hurt 2 weeks ago against the Giants, had not healed enough. He pulls himself out of the game. There you see a big tackle from Harrison Smith. He gets honored. A standing O as well. I mean, it was basically a glorified preseason game yesterday on steroids is probably the best way to say it. Vikings go on and beat the Packers by the final count of 16-3. Green Bay kicked a field goal at the end of the game to prevent being shut out. That was odd. Unless you're betting on the game, then maybe that bailed you out. You see McCarthy's stat line. Afterwards, the head football coach and the quarterback speaking on what went down yesterday at U.S. Bank Stadium.
They drove it down there, and we were actually, gonna set up to. I almost took one to make sure, because I kind of thought that might be coming. I almost took one to ensure that we'd be able to take a knee on offense, because we were gonna get CJ and Harrison out there in the victory formation. But Harry told me he was going to butt his way in and play quarterback on the snap, so that gave me second thoughts on that. But I thought it was, really well done by our staff here to make sure we could recognize those guys the right way. CJ got in the end zone. Wanted to see if we could get a pick or two for 2-2, but that moment there where we pulled them out was special. Credit to our fans for making that feel like the moment it should have.
Did the hand get worse? Did something happen? Was it 50-50 before the game? Just walk us through the start of the game and when you finally went, hey, I'm coming out.
In a way I don't want to say, because, it feels bad on my heart, but I was happy I made the right decision. I learned from something from the prior week where, feeling the momentum of the game, how well the defense is playing. When it gets to a point where you feel like your body is going to say, no, you can't do that, you got to, put your ego aside and understand you got to do what's best for the team. And it's a similar situation that came up today. And it killed me to, pull myself out. Never done that before, but had to do what's best for the team.
Yeah, that's interesting to see that go down. But before we put the bracket up, Brody, real quick, just on JJ, we don't have any real concrete feelings on what he was this year. Because I don't think anybody feels confident about him absolutely getting the keys to the offense in 2026. I think there's a lot of, furrowed brows over how the ending went down yesterday, that he pulled himself out of the game. We talked about this, whatever it was, two and a half months ago when Carson Wentz was literally walking wounded in that game against the Rams on Thursday night, and everyone was like, well, O'Connell's got to pull him out of the game, and the instant pushback was, well, football players are inherent that they're never going to take themselves out of a game. Never. And then McCarthy does something like that yesterday, and immediately, I don't know if his toughness is questioned, but certainly his demeanor on the sideline afterwards. No one went and talked to him afterwards. No one approached him on the bench. That's disconcerting. And something that I think he's still immature, frankly. I know how young he is, but that's another part of this that has to be taken into account for the Minnesota Vikings and their future with what their quarterback situation is. Because the reports yesterday before the games began, the Vikes are going to be in the market for a veteran quarterback. Hello, we've been down this road before because they did not see enough out of McCarthy here in 2025. Going to make for a fascinating offseason that now begins for the Vikings. It begins for 17 other franchises as well. Not for these 14 that are alive for the National Football League postseason. The road to the Super Bowl now is set for these teams. The Broncos are the 1 seed in the AFC. The Seattle Seahawks are the 1 seed in the NFC. They will not play this weekend. And this isn't a true bracket per se because, remember, the lowest seed will play the 1 seeds next week out of whoever wins this weekend. You've got Bears, Packers, round 3. And how about that? That's Saturday night on Amazon. That is a massive win for Amazon. You had to imagine that Fox wanted the game. You'd think NBC wanted that one for Sunday night or for Monday Night Football a week from tonight, but no, Amazon gets that game. Eagles 49ers in Philly is the Sunday mid-afternoon game. That's going to be a huge rating for that, for the 49ers and the Eagles. That'll do well. And then the Rams and the Panthers will start everything on Fox on Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, the AFC, the Texans and the Steelers will play. That's the Monday night game on WDAY a week from tonight. Steelers winning miraculously over the Ravens on a last-second missed field goal by Baltimore. You've got Buffalo-Jacksonville. That's the noon game on CBS on Sunday. And then the Chargers-Patriots play on Sunday Night Football in Foxborough. That's the lineup for the Wild Card Weekend. Super Wild Card Weekend, as it's been dubbed a few years ago. So that's the teams left. And for the 18 that are not playing, the look ahead now to the NFL Draft firmly begins. The Raiders have the number 1 pick. The New York Football Jets are picking second. Can't wait for that debate to come up over the next few months. All right, before we set things up, the other big sporting event going down yesterday. How about our Wolves here are playing some bad teams. I still can't get over the fact they lost to Atlanta. They had another loss in there. That's just the way they're going. They're playing Washington yesterday. The Wizards, yes, they still have a basketball team, are horrendous with a capital H. They came in with a 9-24 record, and the Wolves made sure they were not going to get to double digits yesterday. Thankfully, they didn't mess around in this game. Anthony Edwards was sensational. We talk about demeanor. Remember, he left the bench that game with Atlanta last week, which didn't look good. Edwards scored 16 points in the first quarter. He's unstoppable. Wolves will have a 15-point lead. They're up 13 here. This Thunder Jam, watch it again. This is vintage, and they're up 15. Have a little step back 3. Cans that one. Boy, he was in the zone last night. They go up by 20 at that point. Nifty feed down low to Julius Randle for the finish. Up by 24. Now they're up 17. The kick out. Another 3 from Edwards. They go back up by 20. This Dante DiVincenzo miss, loose ball. I mean, the Wizards aren't even trying to play defense. It's early January. We still got 3 months of a basketball season to go here. Little spinorama for an Ant 3. It's like playing down at the Y here on a Thursday. Defense was optional. Look at Nas. I mean, really? No resistance. The Timberwolves scored 141 points last night. 141. 141 to 115. The Wolves are back to 10 games over 500. A cool 35 for Ant, 22 for Randall, double-double for Rudy. I mean, the Wizards are bad with a capital B. But you know what? Wolves have messed around with those teams in the past and lost, and there was nothing doing that last night. So a good win for the Wolves as they get set. Come home. They got a couple games coming up here at home, and then it's an interesting stretch. January is normally the heavy load. This is normally the month. I think they play 15 or 16 games. A big month here coming up, with the All-Star game to pause things in February. We got a big show. Overreaction Monday, ready to rock and roll. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up at his usual Monday time slot, Sam Herder will join us to give us the live preview from Nashville. Funny enough, Sam and I were on the same flight from Minneapolis to Nashville on Friday morning, so we got to chat quite a bit. He'll give us the scene setter and look ahead to the game tonight between the Redbirds and the Bobcats. Somebody's going to end, it's going to be a first for somebody. It's either a first ever national championship in football for Illinois State, or it's the first title in 41 years for Montana State. We'll chat with Sam coming up at 9:35. Jeff Kolpack will be here in studio at 10 o'clock to look back at a big Bison basketball weekend. We'll have more on that in a minute. Bison men and women both sweep to start Summit League play, and chat about the ever-evolving Bison football roster. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, you'll hear from the Walter Payton winner himself, Beau Brungard, after winning the award. We chatted on Saturday night. You'll hear from him about winning that, about his decision to come back to Youngstown State for 2026. That's coming up to wrap up our show at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here over the next hour and 40 minutes. We're glad you're joining us. We're off and roll. When we come back, it is a Monday. We salute our best of the weekend. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns on a Monday morning. We're back after this. right, we do it each and every Monday. We salute our best of the weekend. A lot of good candidates to choose from. We're going to start with basketball. And again, I've said this now for over 2 months because that's the last time the North Dakota State women's basketball team lost a game. Start paying attention, folks. They're pretty darn good. Their game on Saturday against Denver, we'll get to it here in a second, hopefully. They went out west and absolutely curb-stomped the Denver Pioneers to the tune of the fact that they never trailed in the game. Now, this is a road trip, and Sam highlighted this on the show on Friday. They won against Oral Roberts on Friday, or Thursday night, which they had never done since Jory Collins had been head coach. First time they had won in Tulsa in 6,000 days. Something crazy like that. I did the stat. But they had never swept this road trip. So they got the hard part done Thursday. Then you got to get on a flight, fly from Tulsa to Denver, and then play a Pioneers team that, granted, is not very good, but you still got to go out there and play the game. And holy cow, do they do that and then some on Saturday. Here we go. I mean, they never trailed. You can see it was 2-0, and after Avery Coonan scored here, this game was over. I mean, granted, Denver they're in the 350s of the net rankings, and there's only 360 some odd basketball teams, so you know where I'm going with this. I mean, after they got up 6-0, they already called a timeout. Jossie Schiller was really good, had her best game, I think, as a Bison, which is impressive considering they entered this game with a 10-game winning streak. Marissa Frost got going. They had 4 players in double figures. Coonan was great again. Stop me if you heard this before, that Avery had another 20-10 game. I mean, we're playing like Summit League Player of the Year kind of caliber. I know South Dakota State's got its vaunted lineup, and Brooklyn Meyer's been really good. The Jackrabbits did what they had to do to start Summit League play, but the Bison are doing this too, with not really a deep bench either. Abby Graham has been battling a calf injury. Mariley Simon wasn't available this weekend, so the fact that this is basically the Iron 7 with Carrington Asp and Amelia Hobson off the bench. They got a little bit from Lily Niebuhr this weekend. I mean, Denver was playing like the Wizards were. I mean, resistance is futile here. There was no resistance. As you see Frost use that speed, go coast to coast down. This is encouraging if you follow Bison women's basketball at all, because they have not been able to put the hammer down on teams that they knew they were better at. They would let the game get close and have to survive. This was not close. They won 81-44. They sweep the weekend road trip. They've won 11 in a row. 2-0 to start Summit League play. They're back home this week for Kansas City coming in on Thursday night, and then Omaha on Saturday. There's a real opportunity here to stack some wins together before the Jackrabbit game. Again, Kansas City and Omaha are not very good. These are the bottom teams in the Summit. Oral Roberts they'll get better. Oral Roberts probably the 4th best team, maybe 5 with St. Thomas. It's South Dakota, and then North Dakota State, South Dakota State. And I freaked the Jackrabbit fans out last week because, and there'll be a new bracketology I met either today or tomorrow, but the latest one put out by Charlie Cream for ESPN, who does a heck of a job, he had 2 Summit League teams in there, both as 11 seeds, and that is befitting of the net ranking. That the Jacks were an 11 seed, and North Dakota State was in there as the automatic qualifier out of the Summit League. Now, we got a long way to go. Bison still have to actually beat the Jackrabbits, which they haven't done in 10 years, now 11 years, because the calendar says 2026. But worth paying attention to, folks. Also on the hardwood this weekend, after a rough, and I mean rough, non-conference schedule, Summit League play began, and UND is a new team. Fighting Hawks beat Oral Roberts on Thursday night to start the new year. Saturday, they played South Dakota State in an absolute buzzer beater of a game, and UND came out with a heck of a win. And the crazy stat, and shout out to our guy Brian Shawn, who said this after the game was done, and it took me a second to think about this, that the Fighting Hawks have now beaten South Dakota State 3 consecutive times. Because you go back to the Summit League tournament in March where Trayson Eaglestaff scored 50-some-odd points on SDSU. This game, though, came down to the wire. This shot from Garrett Anderson, the go-ahead 3 with 17 seconds to go. That was your game winner. UND wins it 90-87. They had not beaten South Dakota State 3 consecutive times since 1993. Nobody on our staff was even born by the last time that happened. Which is just another reminder that I'm old. Great start for Paul Sather's team. I mean, they went through the war of non-conference play. But you got to win at home and maybe steal a game at home as well. That's exactly what happened on Saturday afternoon. It's a good win. They go on the road now. They and the Bison have the Kansas City-Omaha road swing. They're starting with Omaha. By the way, the Mavericks, last year's champions, they're sitting looking up at everybody. They're 0-2 in Summit League play to begin. Bison and the Fighting Hawks each at 2-0 to start things. Last thing, if you were not watching the game yesterday between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, which you're probably one of the few because they'll probably do a monster rating, we had the Division III National Championship game last night in Canton, Ohio, between North Central, which is out of Naperville, Illinois, facing Wisconsin River Falls. And we highlighted River Falls and the Falcons a couple weeks ago. That they had a winless season not that long ago. Last night they fell behind. They were down 14-3. Caleb Blah, the quarterback of River Falls from Fridley, Minnesota. That's a dynamite touchdown pass. Now here's a chance for North Central in the red jerseys. They throw a pick, though, in the end zone. A huge play that, of course, the Falcons would take advantage of. They get the pick. Then they come back. Blaha cakes it himself in for the touchdown. River Falls now has the lead at 17-14 on North Central. Again, they were a huge underdog in this game. North Central, excuse me, reigning champs. They were unbeaten. Blaha scores again here. His second rushing touchdown. That made it 24-14 Falcons. And by the way, that is a frozen football field in Canton, Ohio. They was basically playing on cement last night. They got the ball back. They were able to kneel it out. And River Falls, for the first time in school history, national champions. North Central had been in the Stag Bowl 6 years in a row. They had won 3 titles in that span. Had a 29-game win streak. They were the North Dakota State or South Dakota State of that division. Not anymore. River Falls wins the championship. The last time that North Central lost was to school that is near and dear to my heart, right down the road to SUNY Cortland, the Red Dragons, who won the championship in 2023. I think we featured them on Best of the Weekend when Cortland won the title. Congratulations to River Falls. That's a great story. They got a bunch of Minnesota guys on their roster. Caleb Blah, the starting quarterback, throws a touchdown. You saw the 2 rushing scores. He goes for 291 passing, 126 rushing. Listen to his stat line for the year. You think the Brungard was pretty good? Blah, who won the D3 Player of the Year, 6,189 total yards, breaking Joe Burrow's all-division single-season record of 6,039 yards, which he did in his senior season for LSU when they won the title. 6,189 for Blaha. First title for River Falls. First time they were even in the playoffs since 1996. Congratulations to them. That's awesome stuff. That's our Best of the Weekend. We do it each and every Monday at 9:20. We'll break. We come back. We'll head to Nashville. Sam Herder will join us to preview tonight's title game between Montana State and Illinois State. That's coming up when we come back.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Monday morning show off and rolling here. Jeff Kolpack will join us about a half hour. Looking forward to that. You'll hear from the Walter Payton winner, Beau Brungard, also coming up in our second hour as well. We do it each and every Monday at 9:30 to get our show rolling. I mentioned earlier, was on the same flight with our guy Sam Herder down from Minneapolis to Nashville, and as he's getting ready for the game tonight, which I will just tell you, I don't even know if anybody in the city of Nashville knows there's a championship game or a football game happening because the Titans are done. But that's not the point. I think that's why the NCAA was interested in going there, simply because you mentioned to me off air, it's a destination. And then Montana State fans are certainly enjoying it. Looks like Illinois State fans have followed suit.
Yeah, I mean, Broadway was filled with Montana State fans starting Friday night, Saturday night, last night as well. And last night, Illinois State fans, they filled it out as well. And I think most Illinois State fans came down yesterday just because it's an easier trip. They don't necessarily have to make a long weekend of it. But we're kind of wondering, okay, if you're walking around Broadway this weekend, are you going to know there's an FCS championship game going on? And I would say yes, actually, because it wasn't necessarily because there was a bunch of flags and signs and all that. There were some, but not a ton, not like Frisco. But everywhere you looked, you saw Montana State fan gear, and last night also Illinois State fan gear. So it was less about like the signage on Broadway, but if you were just walking around and you're from Nashville, you're going, there's something going on, because there's a lot of red and there's a lot of Montana State gear as well.
I will say, walking Friday night and Saturday night after my stuff was done, I'm sure you're the same. Like, every night is the same. There's a part. It's unbelievable to me. Like, there's just a party going on every night. There's live music and anywhere you go. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I was walking around last night and going, okay, hopefully it's a little quieter, so I can actually hear people talk and talk to people without yelling. And yeah, even on a Sunday night, it was bumping. So yeah, it's a great destination. It's not far from the stadium. It's about 10 minutes from the stadium. Ubers and Lyfts here are like $10 a ride, so it's not super expensive. So yeah, it's been a great destination. And I know Montana State fans that have experienced Frisco, they've already said, like, we like Nashville way better already.
Yep. You and I were inside the stadium Friday morning. I know we did. I did a live shot here for Hot Mic. I think the signage went down when we were there Saturday morning. They were getting everything ready. They painted the end zones. They got the official FCS championship logo. First Bank Stadium, when people see it tonight, I think it's going to be interesting because Montana State fans are going to be on the camera side, and that's a smart move because they're going to have a ton of people there. It's going to look like a football stadium, Sam. That's a big deal, I think, too.
Yeah, I heard Montana State fans alone, they're expecting 20,000, just Montana State fans. Illinois State, we'll see. I know they sold out their allotments. I won't be surprised to see 100 or so NDSU fans in attendance as well. I know Bison fans had a get-together last night. And I think the NCAA is expecting some walk-up sales as well. It's been interesting in my mentions. There's been some Vanderbilt football fans, going, hey, like this is kind of cool. Like, yeah, they're painting over our logo, but it's kind of cool that we're hosting something like this. So I think attendance will look cool. Yeah, there's great signage in the stadium. Yeah, like you said, they painted the end zones. They painted the midfield logo as well. I know initially when we got there and we were taking pictures, that hadn't begun yet. Yeah. So a lot of people on social media were going, they better get some signage down on that field. But yeah, I think overall the setup is going to look really good.
We're looking here at the video I took inside the locker rooms, which is they did that up really, really well. I mean, to me, and you and I were talking about this on Friday and Saturday, that they're putting on all the stops that they want to keep this game. And we were talking with with Ty Halpin from the NCAA. The agreement goes through next season. They're going to open the bidding up in February. To me, they're going to be hard-pressed to not keep it. I really think they may have a new site here.
Yeah, I think so far it's been, about as perfect as you can get if you're in Nashville. Now, like, it is game day. Like, they host SEC games, and so, like, the game day operations will be smooth.
Right.
I'm going to walk around a little bit, but we'll see what the tailgating setup is like. It's not like Frisco where it's just, sprawling parking
Correct.
lots. And so we'll see. I think, like, one of the practice soccer fields, is available. But we'll see what the tailgating setup is like. But yeah, I think Nashville wants to keep it. Frisco certainly wants it back. I know there's other cities in town this weekend to just check it out that are interested in potentially putting a bid up for this game in a couple of years. But yeah, I think Nashville has done a great job, and I think it's going to be hard to take it out of this time.
Yeah, I'm sure Frisco and Halpin said this during the press conference Saturday morning is gonna bid again because they want to get it back, but they're going to have, like I think you mentioned to me, they're going to have to spend significantly and show, like, hey, we really want this back for the NCAA to consider them again. And that's just my 2 cents on what we saw when I was down there. All right, we got an actual football game finally to talk about. The line is 10 or 10.5, which is crazy to me. I would hammer that because I think we're going to have a fourth quarter kind of game tonight. What's your sense after visiting with both teams on Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, I definitely think there is a lot of confidence there for both teams. I think if you're Montana State, I think they feel really well prepared this time around. They were dealing with a lot of distractions last year, and I think we saw that with the slow start that they had. It just seems like they're maybe better situated to be better prepared this time around. And Illinois State, they have all the confidence in the world, as they should. When you consider the run they've been on to be at this point, to get to this point, and Brock Spack's messaging is kind of been cool, but it's been true as far as. Like, there can only be one first. There can only be one, like, first time ever. And Illinois State has the opportunity to do this with their first ever FCS national championship win. And, they're probably all the pressure is on Montana State. And, sometimes we'll talk about, like, the most dangerous team is the team with their backs against the wall, but also teams that don't have anything to lose and they can play loose. Those are also very, very dangerous teams. And so I think Illinois State, I do expect a close game. I'm really interested to see how both teams start. If they're kind of, putting their toe in the water a little bit, kind of testing each other out, seeing what they're going to do, or if both of these teams, one of these teams is going to try to land a haymaker as early as possible.
Veeks is going to play this close to the vest, I think. What's your sense on Caden Dowler playing tonight, Montana State, the defensive player of the year in the Big Sky?
Yeah, it sounds like he's going to play. I still don't know. A lot of people think it's a hand or a wrist, but some other people speculated maybe it could have been a shoulder injury. But it sounds like he's been practicing. It sounds like, he's going to give it a go, whether he's playing his normal number of snaps or if he's a bit limited as well. Like, we'll see. But I think his presence, his football smarts is really valuable. We'll see. He might have a club on his hand, so he might not be able to snag any interceptions, but he's a heck of a player. He's been pretty injury riddled throughout his college career, and so it was unfortunate to see him get injured against Montana. But I think he'll give it a go and play as much as he can.
If Illinois State, even if they fall behind in this game, I still don't count them. I mean, we look obviously what happened here is a prime example of that. And the Davis game even the following week, because Davis got back in that game. I wouldn't panic, or even if you're watching the game at home tonight, to change the channel, because I think they're going to hang around this. That's just the way that they seem to play football.
Yeah, and I think all throughout the playoffs, we've seen teams jump up to 2-score leads early, and then the other team comes back and makes it a ball game. So even if Illinois State is down early, they've shown the ability to come back. Even if Montana State falls behind early, what does that mean for Montana State? Are they kind of going, oh, here we go again, or do they have the ability to kind of come back? Because I do think Montana State has a more quick hitting, or better quick hitting abilities than Illinois State. They are a bit more explosive offensively. Montana State is. So they're, even if a team is up 10-0, in the first quarter, I wouldn't overreact to whichever team that is, because I do feel like both of these teams are going to be equipped to make it a one-score game deep into the fourth quarter.
Here's the thing for Illinois State, whose defense is amazing. They have to somehow slow down Montana State's running attack, which North Dakota State did not have that in 2025. Montana State does with Davis and Jones to throw that out there. That I'm really interested to see how the Redbird defense holds up there.
Yeah, I think the Illinois State defensive line is going to have to play, similar to what they did against
Yes.
NDSU, where
Yes.
in Illinois State throughout the playoffs has sent a decent amount of pressure. But I think in this game, it'll be interesting to see if they just try to get their four defensive linemen, if they try to get home, or if they do send pressure, because Montana State, they're not very vertical when it comes to the passing game. They're kind of dinking and dunking down the field, and then so they spread you out. But then they also have, like you said, that power rushing attack with Jones and Davis as well. So it's a much more balanced attack for Montana State. Not as explosive as last year, but I think more complete of an offense for the Bobcats. So to see how Illinois State defends that is going to be interesting, because the Cats can really get you unbalanced in a hurry with the pass and the run.
To me, on the Justin Lamson seemed like, when I remember in Vegas when we talked about it in the press conference on Saturday, how they ended up landing him from Syracuse and then Bowling Green, Louisville, and a long winding road there, that when they got him, and I think we talked about it on the show, Sam, either the week after or a couple weeks later, like, all right, well, let's see how this is going to progress. And obviously he has become the unenviable task of replacing one of the all-time, maybe the greatest player in school history in Tommy Mellott, and now he's got an opportunity to give him a first championship in 4 decades.
Yeah, he's been really good this year, and a bit of a slower start as well, just with, feeling things out, and new offensive coordinator as well from Montana State. And they were kind of shuffling things around on the offensive line due to injury. But once the Montana State offense really got clicking, things just really took off. And Lamson has been very efficient throwing the ball. He's got a strong arm. His throwing motion is a bit of a longer release, but he has the overall power on the throw, to get it there. And they hit a lot of underneath routes, a lot of slants where, he's beating the outside linebacker on some of those throws. And so he's got a strong arm, takes care of the ball, very, very accurate as well. And he can run as well. He's not Tommy Mellott when he runs the ball, but he's got good speed. He's bigger than Tommy Mellott. And I think he came in with the right attitude, because he is, kind of a gritty player and kind of a gamer and, a fiery type of guy. But I also think, him coming in, knowing he was replacing a legend, I think he kind of came in with the right mentality and, knowing, the big shoes that he had to fill in for. And I think he's done that very, very well.
So when you play as many games as Illinois State has done, this is their 17th game. That's as much as NFL teams play in a regular season. So think about that. You have an opportunity to get some guys back. The Redbirds will. Sounds like Wenker's right is going to go here tonight.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And he was a 1,000-yard running back last year.
Yeah.
And then this year he's been a little limited. I think he's around 600 yards rushing, but he hasn't played since the first round, battling some injuries. But sounds like he'll be back. You couple him with Dawson. I mean, we talk about Montana State's 1-2 punch at running back there. That's pretty dang good for Illinois State as well. So it sounds like he'll be back as well. And I think you kind of wonder if Illinois State would have rather played last week.
I was wondering the same
keep
thing.
That momentum going.
Yep.
At the same time, though, like you said, they played 16 games. This is gonna be their 17th game. They also probably welcomed that time off as well, just to heal mentally, physically as well. So I think they'll be ready to go.
All right, give us a pick. Who you got winning tonight?
Yeah, I went with Montana State. I think I ended up with the Cats winning by 13, but. To me, it's more of I think it's going to be a one-score game where Illinois State is kind of just hanging around, but Montana State has that one-score lead most of the way. And then midway through the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, the Cats put it away with one more score to make it a 2-score game. So I picked Montana State by 13, but there's different ways a 13-point ball game can go, and I do expect it's going to be a one-possession game and a close game for most of the way.
Have a ball down there today, bud. It was great to see you. We'll enjoy it. Have a safe trip back, and we'll recap everything next week, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
There he goes. Sam Herder joins us each and every Monday to start our show at 9:30. He is in Nashville. National Championship game tonight, 6:30. ESPN actually starting with a pregame show at 6 o'clock to lead into the National Championship game at 6:30 between the Redbirds and the Bobcats to see who's going to claim the 2025 FCS National Championship. Be fun to watch. I don't know if someone will be watching tonight through this, covering their eyes. They don't want to see it, but we'll be keeping an eye on things obviously going on in Nashville tonight. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. Hour 2 coming. You'll hear from the Walter Payton winner and Beau Brungard as part of our second hour. Back on Hot Mic right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Sam Herder for giving us a few minutes there in Nashville. Getting ready for the championship game. Just looking quick on the old Storm Tracker app here I wanted to compare this because this is how this always works. One, I dialed this up because I was curious about this. Frisco, Texas. Today. Right now, 55 degrees. Kickoff time, 65. 65 in Frisco today. Last year, I think it was 35 kickoff. Sunny day. It's going to be a beautiful day in Frisco, but there's no championship game in sight. I can't even remember the last time we had that kind of weather when we were down there. Maybe the Jack's Bison championship game in 2023, January of 23. It was nice that day. Nashville, right now, and I left it. It was 52 degrees currently. Going to be sunny. Kickoff time, 56. Perfect. And I'll say on this, and I'll probably save a little bit more for the end of the show. After being there for a couple of days, all I was reminded of, it was just a massive, massive missed opportunity, not only for North Dakota State football team, but the fans. The team we've talked plenty about, that if they had beaten Illinois State, it's just mapped out for them to dominate and make it to the title game. And then you take your shot against whoever you're playing. Likely going to be Montana State. For the fans, and I have seen them go and enjoy themselves with the best of everybody. I was there for all 11 trips to Texas. This one in Nashville would have been unbelievable. And I know there was a group of fans that went down in September for the Tennessee State game, and I think some of them were staking out places like, hey, we're going to come back here in January, and this is where we're going to go, and we're going to all the other people that are going to come with us. It's all I could think of when I was walking around a little bit Saturday night after the Peyton ceremony was done. I was like, man, this just would have been unbelievable few days down here, and that's part of it as well. Now, Nashville's not hurting, I can tell you that right now. The economy is not suffering because North Dakota State fans aren't there. It just, to me, on the other side of it, for Bison fans, that is a massive missed opportunity as well, because I think they would have enjoyed a few days in Tennessee in early January. And seeing the weather forecast only reinforces that as well. And the game experience, I think, is going to be top-notch. Going back to what Sam and I talked about in the last segment, the stadium, is a football stadium. You saw the suites that are brand new. Those got done prior to this Vanderbilt football season. That's elite. They're all sold out. It's going to be, I think, a really, really good game experience for people that are going. I'm curious for the Bison fans and Sam mentioned about 100 or so that are there to get their feedback on what the experience is like at the game, because they have no rooting interest in it. That's why I'm curious to see what they take out of the game and everything leading up to it. Because the tailgating thing is interesting. For those that have been to Frisco, there's no big parking lots around the stadium. I mean, it's right on campus. You've got their massive indoor facility. The great baseball stadium is right next to the football stadium. There's nowhere to actually go and do that. That's why I'm interested to see where they're going to have people staged prior to the game. And then something we check it out later tonight. All right, we're due for a break. We'll come back. We'll start our second hour. Jeff Kolpack will join us. First time in 2026. Get his thoughts on a big basketball weekend and what the moving and shaking is going on in the transfer portal for North Dakota State. Hour 2, coming up after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike on the networks of WDAY. Here's Don Izzo. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. Forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
All right, here he is. Happy 2026 to our guy, Jeff Kolpack. His appearances each and every Monday on our show are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Great to see you. How you been?
Did you say it's 65 in Frisco today?
I did. Our Storm Tracker weather app said 65 degrees right now in Frisco, Texas. Yep.
Just take that dull pencil and knock my eyeballs out now.
The fact we could do this during the break, we went through the other game days. We knew the nice ones for the championship days in Frisco. And there's a few that came right to mind. Like you mentioned the first one, which I remember the sun was out, but it was a little overcast. It was 50 degrees in 2011.
Well, the first day we ever flew to Frisco, the first day we got there in 2011 on a Thursday or Wednesday, I can't remember what it was.
I think it was a Wednesday.
It was 70 and sunny.
It was warm.
And we're having dinner on some outdoor restaurant in our T-shirt and shorts.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
It never been, that was it. It never got that nice again.
So Towson was a nice day, sunny day. It was 60. That was the highest. That was January of 2014. James Madison the first time was 53.
And the Towson game was the bad field.
The field disintegration game. Yep. Eastern Washington, people went there January of 2019. It was 58. That was a nice day. It was on a cloud in the sky. The last one that I remember that was nice out was the Sunday Jacks Bison game. It was 56 degrees that day.
And what's it in Nashville today?
It's going to be 60 degrees in Nashville by kickoff. So, yep. And that's, I don't know if you saw any of the video or photos I put. Nashville is doing the full court press, Jeffrey.
Sounds like
I think that they, and you obviously were there in September. You know the scene of what Broadway is. And they don't even have to have any signage. Like, I don't know if the average person even knows there's a football game happening. It's just the correlation of downtown to where the stadium is. This is a home run, I think, for the NCAA.
You think they'll keep it there?
I do.
You do?
I do. You're going to see the crowd tonight, and granted, Montana State's going to bring a ton of people. I'm interested to see what Illinois State, but the Montana State crowd is going to be on the TV side, which is smart. It's going to look like it's full. I'd be hard-pressed to see them leaving. They're going to open the bid up again next month, but I know Frisco's going to want to get back in, and whatever renovation they're doing to Toyota Stadium, but they're going to have to back up the Brinks truck to get it away from Nashville, in my opinion.
Okay.
Just seeing when I was down there for a couple days of
my concern is the stadium's too big. If you get the wrong two teams, it's going to be
you're not gonna,
the wrong two teams.
See, I don't think you're going to have. Montana State's going to have 20,000 people there. I really believe. I was told ticket office said they're anticipating 25,000 tickets sold. It's a 35,000 seat stadium, but all those suites are going to be full. It will not be the case. To your point, though, but are we ever going to run into that in FCS football ever again?
Well, yeah. Montana State right now is experiencing the North Dakota State of 2012-13. That's what they're doing right now.
They're in that run.
Yep.
South Dakota State isn't going anywhere. As long as North Dakota State is still an FCS squad, they're going to be in the mix. That I don't know if that is ever really going to be a concern where you're going to have a Delaware Eastern Washington situation like the first year in Frisco. I don't foresee that happening.
Well, as long as there's no movement within the FCS, yes, I can see that.
What do you got for a winner tonight?
I got Montana State. At some point, Illinois State, the run will, the magic and the run.
Yeah.
At some point, you run out of steam. Now they've had some time off, and they've had some fortune go their way,
no doubt.
And sometimes that'll flip. I've always said this in sports. It's weird how sometimes you could have your best team ever and not win,
which was the case last year.
And then the team that wins ends up being like the next year, like in this case, Montana State.
Yeah, it's all the stars we thought were aligned for them last year. They had the Walter Payton winner, they had the Eddie Robinson winner, Coach of the Year in Vegan, and that did not materialize.
Guys that were winner of the portal are really good. Rohan Smith, right?
They lost 3 offensive linemen right after the championship game, and now here they are on the doorstep of winning this thing. It's amazing.
But if they don't win, oh my goodness.
Because Viggs, I think you could sense. Brent said it, and I asked the question in the press conference on Saturday morning about the history of this, that you've here third time in 5 years, and the way that you've lost the block field goal, the Bozeman block, how the loss last year. They lost to the Jackrabbits and Brookings the year prior to that. Says all that is part of our story. I think he's relating to the 2010 game in Eastern Washington of how the Bison lost there, and that built up everything that he's hoping that scar tissue of what they've experienced the last couple of years will pay off tonight.
But there will be 20,000 fans who, oh my goodness, going to be Depression City. Now, I have a couple friends that are in Nashville this weekend and, suffering PTSD, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Like, oh.
It's a massive missed opportunity.
They have run into fans in Montana State who said they wouldn't have come if it was the Bison.
Really?
Yeah. But now that they're playing Illinois State, better chance of winning, and you don't have to suffer through that Bison deflation.
See, NDSU Montana State game in that stadium would be filled. Honestly, I believe that. So it'll be fun to see how it plays out. Now here on the home front, it has been a busy time. I know you and Sam last time you were on the show was just the little drips of it, and since then it's been a full-on faucet. Obviously, the Bison have had 7 guys depart. We know one destination. Eli Ozick has made it official that he's going to go kick for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa.
Yeah,
that's a
him.
big move there.
And so my story that is in today's Inform e-paper and yesterday went online on what these guys stand to make. I made some lot of contacts.
Yeah.
We have contacts all over the place. And I just started making inroads on, okay, what is this position, this position? You do your research. And kicker is the specialists are it's the one position group where it's uncertain if it's really financial or not.
Yeah.
Because most FCS kickers are not full ride, if not all of them are not
Correct.
full ride. So sometimes in that position, you do this to go kick at a higher level, which Eli Ozick is doing.
He also is going to get paid, though, as well. It
Yeah.
might not be a scholarship deal. It might be, hey, we'll take care of you through NIL rather than your room and board, something like that. But I imagine he will get 5 figures. I would not doubt that for where he's going.
100,000 maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe, something like
He's
that.
that good of a kicker.
Yeah.
He's got 2 54-yard field goals outside. That alone, I mean, you've seen college kicking in 2025,
Yep.
especially for the Power 4 level. There are guys that you wouldn't trust from 35 and out. Let alone 40 or 50 yards.
Well, who was it? Was it A&M? No, Texas A&M?
Yes.
Yeah, A&M.
Both kickers, A&M and Miami kickers, were not good in that game. And that's top of the line there.
But in my research on what players stand to earn, I think generally we can come to this conclusion. That every year NDSU will have 2 or 3 guys that stand to really financially benefit pretty big. Not more than 2 or 3. This year, I think Beau Johnson. We'll see. We'll remain seeing what he'll get. Toby and Nene.
Yep.
After that, I don't know. Eli.
I think Trent Fraley's going to make out well. I do, depending on where he goes.
Yeah.
He's an offensive lineman, and those are with 2 years of starting experience, All-American. He'll do well wherever he goes.
Yeah.
After that,
there's a risk there. I mean, Alexander and Duffy.
Yeah, I don't know. Jalen's got connections though. I think from what I'm hearing, Northwestern and David Braun, who recruited him to come to Fargo. So that's something.
He's got
there.
a history of
he
injuries.
Does. He has an injury history there.
Do you spend $100,000 on somebody with, you're one injury away from being done?
I would tell you the Big Ten has no issue spending money.
I know, but
none. They're getting $90 million each school, Kolpack, for TV. 90. So Northwestern's got that, then yeah, they're gonna.
Okay.
They'll take a flyer.
We'll see.
I do. Jaquise Alexander. Right now, all we know is Delaware has offered him. That's the risk you take. Caleb Bowers is the other one, the long snapper who's in there, which again goes back to your story there. I don't. If Nancy has something pointed out, maybe
I talked to a lot of people though, and there's a couple that said they would never offer him.
Yeah.
Just because of the injury.
On Duffy, you're talking about.
Yes.
All right. So here are the list of guys that have decided to portal, and the new additions as well, because the Bison have added 3 through the portal so far. We know Jaquise Alexander, Jalen Duffy, Eli Ozick, Caleb Bowers, Toby Anene, Beau Johnson, Trent Fraley. Those are the 7 that we know, the starters. There are other guys that have decided to move on. Chance Simons is moving on. Wyatt Osterbauer is moving on. He's going to MSU Mankato. But of the starters, we know that. Incoming, Gage Gilbert is coming in, transfer from Dickinson State, tight end.
He may be the find of everything.
Might be. Keeney Anene, who is Toby's younger brother, and he's not the slight of stature. 6 foot, 300 pounds, a big dude.
6'6".
Yes, big dude. That's an offensive lineman the Bison wanted originally. Former Bison, Scott Fuchs, got him to go to Kansas before Scotty got the job with the Titans. And then they added another one, a cornerback in E.J. Davis out of Wayne State, who's seen their entire roster rated by Missouri Valley teams over the last little bit. So that's where we're at. 7 out and 3 in. I think a few more additions still to come.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But again, you can't discount some of the younger players coming up that now it's their time. And that's the beauty of this transfer portal and getting rid of the spring period.
See,
because now you can go into spring ball and go, okay,
See, I have a different take on that.
Why?
So I heard this. It was from Saban on game day. It was New Year's morning, and he's dead on about this. Now, he's wrong about the calendar because the coaches created this, but he had this idea of having, and I think this is fantastic, of having the portal actually, you move it to, what did he say? End of, because you had to line it up with the calendar. Oh, you go through the season, right? Then you go through, have the portal in April, right, or May, when school is done. Then you move your off-season, spring football or whatever, to like the NFL does, to OTAs in June and July. Then you have your team, and then you go and you play. I think that was the best way to do it.
Well, if you could do that, sure.
Who's stopping it right now? The coaches are the only ones that are stopping it.
Well, yeah, who can do this?
NCAA can. Your guy Craig
without getting sued?
Your guy Craig Bowl can. Who's going to sue him? That's the point, is you get it after school. Right, so you line it up with the calendar. So if the portal is in May, right? Okay, and you can let players know in January, hey, we're moving on. We're going to go to somewhere else. Then the portal opens in May. You go in a month of adding guys or whatever, 2 weeks. Then we start practice June 15th, right? We got a month of spring ball or practices. Take a little bit of time off, and then we go August 1. Boom.
But if you do it in the summer, and the Division I players are here all summer anyway.
Right.
But I don't know if Division II, are they required, these players, to be there all summer?
Some schools are.
Okay, but you can't do some and some don't.
No. Well, this doesn't have to be all divisions. It can just be a Division I. It could be a Division I calendar there. Because they're on
a separate Division II calendar.
Right, because they're on different calendars as it is now. So why not? That to me, I heard it and I sat back. I'm like, wow, that to me, if you're gonna do it and blow it up, that makes the most sense. Have it in May, then do it just like the NFL does. Because the draft is when? The draft is in late April, early May. Mm-hmm. You get your team together. Then here's your portal window for 2 weeks. Then we start spring ball June 1. We do that for a month. Take July off, which every coach wants. August 1, we start fall camp, and let's go. Hopefully I'm going to talk to Craig because I want to know if there's any momentum on that. Because that to me, Jeff, would ease all of this we're talking about right now, of guys opting out when the season's going on, coaches leaving when there's playoff games happening. All of that is done. Because then you coach the team, and then you go after that. That would be probably pie in the sky.
You are making too much sense there,
but you know what I mean?
Boy.
It's like, it's probably too good of an idea to ever happen, but that to me would be the best way to go forward to alleviate all of this junk, that the whole Ole Miss situation is a mess, or the fact that guys decide in November, I'm probably that, and that may still,
or Vegan going to Oregon State and looking at it during the playoff
and that
run.
very well may still happen. But at least now you'd have a clear, I'm coaching the team through whatever it is done. There's none of this junk of Ole Miss is wondering if its offensive coordinator is going to stay through the semifinal game. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? This is the only sport that does that. That to me is just beyond parody in my mind.
Why do you need me today?
No, I'm just curious if you'd heard that.
Going.
Because I heard it. I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure there's probably some legal ramification I'm not thinking of, but if you were to just go and do that, boy, you solve a lot of your issues you got going on in college football right now. And the coaches created it. There's only one to look at. The coaches did it because they could go willy-nilly whenever they left. And now they're bearing the brunt of it because the players
We saw it back in 2013. This is nothing new.
Right. To me, I'd like to see, hopefully, something of that materialize because it's crazy out there. What did you write? 4,000 guys in the portal right now?
4,500?
So it officially opened on Friday, and we got to go here till another 11 days. It's open. So, I mean, it could double. By the time the week's over.
I think NDSU's bleeding has stopped. I think for the most part, I do.
I'm not.
We'll see.
I'm not there yet. School is starting in a few days, I want to say. So once you get separated, I think, from the people around you, I think that's probably once they get them back in house, I guess is what I'm saying, is better. But there's still some guys out there they haven't heard from yet. Logan Larson's a big one they haven't heard from yet on the defensive line.
I think he's staying. I do.
Yep.
All
right. It's not public yet, so until it's public, I would cautiously optimistic, I guess, is maybe the best way
to phrase
it on that.
Run it back.
But that's, there's a couple other. Jalen Crumby's another one. Yeah. Another name out there. Now
safeties aren't real sought after in the portal. And actually, and what I learned is linebackers, contrary to what you would believe, aren't really the high-priced guys either, because a lot of coaches believe they can develop these guys, and there's a lot of them out there.
Email comes in. Dom and Jeff, your thoughts on Lewis Walker coming back to be the cornerback
Great
coach?
hire. Yeah, awesome hire. And they had some shake-up there with their head coach in Monmouth retiring.
Yes. Kevin Callahan has been the only coach in Monmouth ever
maybe
had.
that has something to do with it. But the fact you got your corners coach in so quick, too, and we talked about that. When a coach leaves, obviously Tim knows who he wants.
Yeah, well, I'd say this. He's got 2 now guys with defensive coordinating experience in position jobs. Cody Morgan did it at Kent State, who's the defensive tackles coach, and now Lou is doing DC in Monmouth. He's your corners coach. That's pretty good, too.
A name to look out for, and a player they really like is Marion Moore, corner.
Yep.
True freshman this year.
Yep. And that's to your point of the guys that they really like this entire 2025 incoming class. Obviously with a point that, 3 or 4 of them played. Babbitt started a game. That there's some guys that they believe that can develop and help them out there.
Yep.
But I'm really interested to see what the other. I don't think they're done. I think there's another linebacker.
Yeah, I don't know if you're
looking
ever
at.
done.
I think there's a couple other spots they're looking at there. All right, we're overdue for a break here. Let's get caught up. We come back. An unbelievable weekend in basketball. Thriller at the Shack you got to see on Saturday. Let's chat about that. We come back. More with Jeff Kolpack, other side of the break, right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Email comes in. Dom, I get what you're saying, but the problem with if they do miss with the calendar and the portal window, when that happens, if they start to push the season to mid-August, does not give much time for fall camp. I think we need to look at when the season starts first, then move the window accordingly. Of course, that's another thing that's out there is now week 0 is week 1 for the FCS, which is the last weekend of August.
It's getting a little early, is it not?
I would imagine that there'll be games next year on August 27th, I want to say. It'll be the first games of the FCS season. We do need a uniform date for everybody to start, and I guess off of that, then maybe we can get the off-season OTAs, whatever you want to call them, established after that. To me, it makes too much sense. I hope it happens, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it, Kolpack.
Nope. I see you did your annual New York Jets temper tantrum.
Oh, I did that a few weeks ago, man.
Oh, did you?
It's staying there for the rest of 2026.
On the floor in the corner?
It ain't coming back. You go a whole season without an interception? You've covered football all your life. How's that happen?
It's almost impossible.
It's impossible to happen. Exactly. That's what a professional football team.
You ever thought about getting a new team?
No, I'm going down with the ship with that.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. Had some pretty big basketball wins this weekend. Let's start with what the Bison men did with Oral Roberts coming in. I believe it lost 28 consecutive road games, longest streak in all of Division I. And boy, they nearly snuck it out against the Bison on Saturday.
Yeah, the Bison had their warts, but give them credit. They figured out a way. It wasn't the smoothest game offensively. They looked pretty choppy, I would say.
Yeah, because they had how many points at the end of regulation? Was it 57, 58? It wasn't very good.
Double overtime.
Yeah.
You know, what I like about the Bison men is for a team that had so many new players, they came together rather quickly. And these are tests on a team. Are you a team? Boy, there's Markai Strickland can dunk the ball. I think Trayvon Wright. When I think of him now.
There's 2 dunks he had, and Sam texted me because I was at the ceremony on Saturday night. He said, have you seen him yet? I'm like, not yet. He goes, and he sent me the video of him. I'm like, oh my.
And look out for this guy, Male Skittle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming on. He can, like Dave said, he can do something. He's a strong guy.
This is one of them. That one there, that's
the
like the
throwdown.
Trayvon-esque is what he used to do with the old BSA, is what Markai did. That one there. The reverse
so
jab,
quick,
really good,
just so powerful, explosive.
But of all guys, it's Noah Feddersen who has seen his role diminish because Trayson Anderson has emerged. He spent most of the game, Kolpack, on the bench and
played 12 minutes.
Ends up being the hero
in a double overtime game. Played 12 minutes. Yeah, comes a hero. I think this is probably it right here. Right, battles, puts it back up.
I'll say this because he easily could have pouted about not playing.
That was my story.
He's been a starter for the last 2 years.
Yep.
And to see his role go the other way, that's that's kind of win that may lead you to something bigger.
Especially the way Dave built him up coming into the season, that he's finally emerged.
Yep.
He's more aggressive. This is now he's going to come into his own, and hasn't quite happened that they expected.
Yeah. That, to me, that's a kind of win, man, that can propel you. I know Oral Roberts
can make a difference in seeds when you get down there late February.
You got the win against a depleted South Dakota team. It was down to basically 5 guys. The Jackrabbits lost up at UND. UND's out. It's 2 games in, but that Bison team's got something.
They're in the mix.
Yeah,
They'll be in the
absolutely.
conversation in March as long as they maintain what they're doing right now, if not improve. They'll be in the mix to make the dance.
I'll be intrigued to see. St. Thomas won yesterday over Denver, and Denver is going to be, I think, in there too. I think Denver's got some pieces with all the Dragons that have transferred over that they're going to. Those are the 4. I think it's the Jacks. I think it's NDSU. I think it's St. Thomas and Denver. Those are the 4. I think they're going to be.
I think it's St. Thomas and NDSU right now.
Okay. How about the women's side here? The Bison women, for the first time, swept Oral Roberts and Denver. They had never done that on the road.
Which just seems a little weird, but because Oral Roberts has actually been pretty good over the years, Denver's been up and down.
But again, the Bison weren't very good until the last couple of years, either.
It's going to, and Jory's mentioned this, it's going to come down to Brookings and Fargo.
Can they beat the Jackrabbits?
Can you do it against that team?
Yep. I'll say this. They have Kansas City coming here on Thursday, and Kansas City has been a perennial thorn in the side of the Bison, and they've got some athletes. You're going to see the record like, oh, this is going to be a dog of a game, and it may be, but I wouldn't. Kansas City's got them at the Summer League tournament 2 of the last 3 years.
But I think the addition of Jossie Schiller at guard, she's more athletic
Certainly
than they've had in that spot in a long time.
Absolutely. I think
I go back to Brooke Lamar.
Yeah. I don't know. Was Brooke a true point guard, though? She was more a shooting guard than she was a point guard.
Yeah.
She might be their most athletic and just ball handler they've had in the Division I era. I believe that on Schiller. And Frost is no slight either. Marissa's really good at that spot. Asp what they're getting from Carrington off the bench. Again, you're right. It's going to come down. Can they finally? They have not beat the Jackrabbits now. It's 11 years. It was January of 2015 was the last time they beat the Jack. You know where it was?
Where?
Do you remember?
It was in Brookings.
No, it was at Shields Arena.
Oh, that's right.
It was at Shields Arena. Because the BSA was being demolished to turn into to the Shack. We were at Shields Arena in South Fargo. It was the last time
I think that was
won.
a Brooke Lamar game.
Yes, Brooke went crazy in that game. But it was 11 years ago. I mean, streaks sometimes, you'd think. We talked about it with Illinois State finally beating the Bison in football. Who knows? I will say this. I hope fans will, because I thought the crowd on New Year's Eve for the Bison men was really good. It was a 4 o'clock, so it was a weird start time. That hopefully they come out and actually pay attention to this team.
So what's your prediction tonight before we go? What do you... have you said this?
No, I got the Redbirds winning tonight.
You do?
I do. There's something about it that they got it. They got some magic going. Your guy Winker's right is going to be back tonight for them, so they got him and Victor Dawson.
He's okay.
Oh, he's better than okay. He ran for 1,000 yards last year. He's better than okay.
Illinois State was a made extra point away by North Alabama from losing to North Alabama.
True. And the Bison beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Which is bizarre how football works.
They lost by 30.
To your point,
they lost by 30 at home to SIU.
Game.
They lost by 30 at home to SIU, their last game of the year. Okay? I do. I just visiting with them again when we were down there. I'm like, there's something in their eye. I think they win this game. I think it's like 35-31. Something similar.
Sopkowitz is going to have 10 receptions, 3 touchdowns.
I was talking with Montana State's quarterbacks coach, who's one Brian Shepard, former Bison cornerback, and he looked at me and goes, we got some young guys out there knowing full well we got to stop number 2, and they're going to have their hands full because nobody – the Bison didn't do it. The Bison didn't even do it in the game they won. Nobody's done that on Sopkowitz yet this season. So that's what I'm going with tonight. We'll see.
Yeah.
Your pick'ems were already better than mine, so I'm sure.
Boy, that nickel trophy looks sweet in my man cave. Yes.
Happy New Year to you. Thanks again for coming by, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right.
Jeff Kolpack joins us each and every Monday at 10 o'clock to start our week on our second hour of our show. All right, we'll break. We come back. My conversation with the Walter Payton winner and Beau Brungard. We'll get a couple other thoughts in as well. Got a few emails trickling in. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Kind of gray day. It's a perfect January kind of feel out there, isn't it? At least we're well above zero. I can enjoy that. One quick story before we hear from Beau Brungard. When I arrived in Nashville, and I may have shared this on the show on Friday, but if you missed it, get to the airport and going to pick up my rental car, and the rental agent, was wearing and this is down, we're in the garage now. She's wearing 3 layers and got a mask on. She's like, boy, it's a cold one today. And I looked at her, I'm like, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Like, hey, it's 50 degrees warmer here than where I just came from. This is fantastic. And you could tell, certainly with the Montana State fans that I ran into. And quick shout out. I ran into a Bobcats fan when I was out to eat on Friday afternoon. I believe his name is Mike, who came right up to me, knew me by name, and said, Dom, I watch your show every day. I live in Western Montana. I follow it. I love it. Keep it up. You do a great job. Which, first off, thank you. That was awesome to hear. Second, the fact that we got Bobcat fans and people out of Western Montana watching the show never ceases to amaze me. So I appreciate that. That was awesome to hear. But going back to the weather piece of this, that is another reason why this game probably ain't going anywhere, but we'll see after that. All right, to the business at hand. So Saturday night goes down, and I think we all were of the mindset where it was going. When you saw the Missouri Valley Offensive Player of the Year and who it went to, first-team All-American, who it went to, that Beau Brungard was going to win the Walter Payton Award. And, in fact, he did. And Teron Dickens ended up finishing second, and Cole Payton ended up finishing third. And that's where I want to start for you here from Beau. Because I am a voter in this. I had the honor of presenting the award, which was fantastic. But I do have a problem with the voters. And we have gotten better at the top 25, I think, to a point where people are paying better attention to who's beating whom and how it plays out and to rank them. But I do not think we've gotten better at award selection. And this is going to come as sour grapes because I'm the play-by-play guy of Bison football, and I'm a Bison homer. But I will tell you, how do you have it where North Dakota State now has had 4 quarterbacks, 4, be a finalist for this award? Only one of them has won it. And not tell me that there's some sort of anti-North Dakota State sentiment out there, because that I will not believe. Easton Stick was the best player in the country in 2018. He lost to Devlin Hodges of Samford. Easton Stick by far should have won that award. He did not. Trey Lance won the award in 2019, as he should have. He didn't throw a pick the entire year. Last year, to me, Cam Miller deserved that award just as much as Tommy Mellott did. Mellott won it. I don't think it was particularly close either last year. Now, Cole Payton finished third. He had 6 first-place votes, so I had one of them. I'd like to know who the other 5 were. Please stand up. This is, again, make the voting public. You have to let your vote be known. Because Teron Dickens only played in 9 games. Great guy. Got to meet him when we were down there from Western Carolina. But if you actually take the equivalent of what Payton didn't play, Cole didn't play the equivalent of 2 full games because the Bison were up by so much. Nathan Hayes played 10 of the 13 games. Sometimes he played the entire second half. So apparently the message is that the Bison need to be worse so Cole can play longer, or for future quarterbacks. That's what you need to know. And that, again, takes nothing away from the winner, because I thought Brungard was probably going to win it. And the stats, he had 53 touchdowns, right? 27 passing, 26 rushing. It was crazy, the kind of year he had. But to me, someone's going to have to explain that to me that's smarter than I am, and what we're doing here. Because if we're just going to look at, because the Buchanan is a perfect example as well. The 3 finalists for the Buchanan, only one of them came from a team with a winning record. That was the guy who won it, Andrew Zock from Mercer, who is off into the portal. He's going to go play somewhere else next season. But the other 2 guys were from Fordham and Furman. Just because you have 158 tackles doesn't mean you had a great year. It means you played on a lousy team and you had to be on the field the entire time. Like Ty Niekamp, who is the great middle linebacker for Illinois State. And I mean great with a capital G. I think Bison fans have gotten to see him up close here. Let me get I got to find the voting on this. Hold on, here we go. So, Zoc, Stone King from Furman, and James Conway went 1, 2, 3. Caden Dowler finished 4th. Niekamp was 8th. How is it that the best conference in the country and their best defensive player was 8th in the national voting? Like, that doesn't happen in any other system outside of FCS football. Logan Kopp finished 14th. Somebody make that make sense, and I'll give you $100 because I don't understand that. That's just my mini rant on it. I love being a voter, and I'm sure Craig will see this, and I'm sure he's going to probably grit his teeth through it. But to me, we got to get better at it because it doesn't make any sense. Like, pay attention to who's doing what. It's not just, wow, that guy had 48 touchdowns and 2 picks. Or this guy had 138 tackles. He must be good. There's a reason he's on the field that much. Maybe his team isn't that good. Now, all that said, Beau Brungard is a worthy winner of this award. I will say that. His performance alone, you look at what he did against the University of North Dakota, what he did against South Dakota State, to an extent of what he gets against North Dakota State. To the game with Yale. I mean, he had a game earlier the year. He caught a touchdown. You heard me right. He caught a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown. He was fantastic. Here he is afterwards. We had a chance to visit in Nashville after he won the Walter Payton Award.
I was certainly a little nervous up there, but it was just so much excitement and relief just going through me when I heard my name announced. And to be able to stand up there with those other players, and they were tremendous players, but I just feel so honored to be able to have it.
Youngstown State, has an unbelievable football history. They don't have one of these.
Mm-hmm.
You're that. What does that say? What goes through your mind when I say that?
Yeah, I feel so blessed to be able to bring this home for Youngstown. That's home for me. It's where I'm from, and so many championships and so many great traditions at Youngstown. And I'm so thankful and blessed that the Lord has allowed me to bring this one home and make this a part of our history now.
I think people knew you for what you did last year. Why the skyrocket this year? Why the game that changed and blew up this year?
Yeah, we brought in Coach Yursich and he made some great changes to our offense and for me as a player, he really helped me take it to the next level. And he looked at areas last year that I struggled with, and that we worked on my weaknesses, and he really elevated my game. Whether it was my footwork or my pre-snap routines, mentally he helped me grow as a football player and as a quarterback. And so that, and just bringing in so many playmakers around me. I had so many great playmakers around me to throw to. I had time with my O-line. There was just so many factors. But it truly was a team effort.
Do this out of the Missouri Valley. I mean, what week to week is like. To have this, make it even more special to knowing full well what you face on a weekly basis.
Yeah, every single week it's a new challenge. There's no off weeks in the Missouri Valley. The teams with the worst record, it's still going to be a punching match. It's going to be back and forth. There's no bad teams in the Missouri Valley, so you have to have a mindset every week that you're not going to take off and that you got to come ready to play. And so to be able to play against great competition and amazing players every single week, I think it helped me grow as a player from last year to this year.
You made the decision. You made it pretty quick about coming back. Was there any thought about potentially not?
Those thoughts do go through your head, and you have to take them into consideration because, the money nowadays that people can offer you, it's life-changing and things like that. But I had to look in the mirror and, see what I value. And so when I sat down with Coach Phillips and we talked, I value loyalty and staying home, and there's nowhere else I'd want to play for. And so I liked making a decision that stood out and was different than what everybody else was doing. I don't like when people, leave after being somewhere. And so I wanted to be that. I wanted to be the difference in college football.
Coach Phillips told me you guys got a team meeting tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow. We get off the plane tomorrow, and I got a hour ride from Cleveland to Youngstown, and I'm going to go right to the team meeting.
You're bringing this with you?
Oh, yeah, I'll bring it with me.
So tell me what you think that reaction will be like when you come back with this and what your teammates are going to say.
Yeah, I had so many teammates before this text me good luck, and it's just going to be so much excitement in that locker room because this is just as much their award as it is mine. And so, you know, we're going to celebrate, but, you know, we left a lot on the plate this past year. So, you know, hopefully that, you know, this fuels us to be able to come back here next year, but be playing a game next year instead of coming for this.
My last question for you is just about that. Now, not necessarily you weren't known coming into this season. That ain't going to be the case in 2026. How much excitement do you have for that? Knowing, okay, everybody's going to be looking for number 12.
Yeah, it's gonna raise the expectations for me. But you know that's not going to be a problem. I'm just going to put my head down. I'm not going to be complacent whatsoever. We're gonna set the standard even higher in the locker room, in the weight room, in the film room. So I'm excited to get back to work with these guys, and they know just as well as I do that we have so much potential, and so we're going to work in a manner that reflects that.
Here's my conversation with the Walter Payton winner. Youngstown State next season will host North Dakota State. The Bison will go to Ohio for the first time in 5 years. That's on the schedule for next year. I'm just looking real quick because we can do that now as we're going to start as soon as the game is done tonight. Now we can actually turn the page to 2026. This is also they have an FBS game at Kentucky. That's good for them. That's right next door. That'll do well. They have non-conference games with Mercyhurst and Duquesne lined up, and a road game at Sacramento State. Their Valley schedule next year. They host Illinois State, they host Northern Iowa, they host the Bison, and they host UND. They go to Brookings, they go to Murray, they go to Terre Haute, and they go to Carbondale. It's not actually too bad, especially you get NDSU and UND in your place at Stambaugh Stadium. That will be interesting to see. But as I mentioned with him at the end of the interview, everybody certainly knows now about number 12. We knew about him last year, or heading into this most recent season. And I talked with him briefly at Missouri Valley Media Day about expectations and what's to come. Now everybody's going to know him. This is the first time in a while, by the way, we had the Walter Payton winner coming back. Typically that's gone to a senior. Gronowski was one a couple years ago when he won it in 23 and came back for the 24 season. But more often than not, these are guys that are out the door. Cooper Kupp was one. He was the last wide receiver. I believe now we've had a quarterback win this award 21 of the last 22 years. Pretty easy to see. Heisman is the same way. Why wouldn't the Payton be different in FCS football? All right, we'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready. We'll give our poll results and get you ready for Championship Monday tonight in Nashville. That'll come up when Hot Mike wraps right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a foggy Monday. Tomorrow, David Richmond will join us, North Dakota State men's basketball head coach. Bison 2-0 to start league play. He'll be joining us on the program tomorrow. All right, a couple of newsy things here before we wrap up. One, we have another head coach that's done. Pete Carroll has been fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. One and done there. The Raiders earned the number 1 pick. You can say in the NFL draft, they were bad this year. Cam Miller, we saw late last week, actually, who they drafted in the 6th round. They had 2 draft picks in the 6th round. Tommy Mellott and Cam Miller, neither finished the team or the year with the team. Think about that. That just doesn't happen. Mellott got cut, didn't even make the practice squad. I actually saw Tommy. He's in Nashville doing some media stuff for Montana State. And Cam spent the entire year on the Raiders practice squad. Then the Dolphins picked him up and then signed him to the active roster through next season. They like him that much. So Cam is a Dolphin now in the AFC East. So that's happening with the Raiders. Also, for those of us that follow Missouri Valley Conference football, DJ Williams announced earlier this morning that he is coming back. The outstanding quarterback at Southern Illinois got an extra year of eligibility approved because he got injured 1 year, so he'll be in his 7th year of football. He will be back with the Salukis, a team the Bison will play next year in Carbondale. Remember, DJ was humming up until actually that Bison game, and he did it again. He routed Illinois State. You go back and watch Illinois State SIU. Tell me how SIU didn't make the playoffs, and Illinois State's in the championship game if you watch that. It's the most bizarre. It is the most bizarre sport out there. All right, let's do our poll question here before we wrap things up. On tonight's game, who are we cheering for tonight? Is it Montana State or Illinois State? Overwhelming Illinois State. How about that? 72% on the Redbirds that people are cheering for. Not who they think is going to win, who they're cheering for in tonight's FCS championship game. We'll have a full breakdown of that coming up on the program tomorrow. I'm intrigued to see how the physicality of the Missouri Valley Football Conference team handles this against the Big Sky, because it's not been close. Every time that we've seen that, when a Valley team has played against a Big Sky team, it's been pound, and the Valley team has won it. On the lines of scrimmage, the Valley team has come out. Whether it's South Dakota State, whether it is North Dakota State, whether it is Illinois State, it has been decided. We'll see if that changes tonight. If it does, Montana State's got a heck of a chance to win the football game. All right, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, what to watch is brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. There's the game, 6:30 tonight, ESPN. I believe you got Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler on the call on television. They're good. Illinois State, Montana State, 6:30, ESPN. The Wild keep on winning. Late tonight, they're at the Kings, 9:30 on FanDuel Sports North for that. Minnesota. We talked plenty about the Wolves. We'll spend plenty of our time in 2026 on the Wild, because the Wild are good. Obviously, they got the Olympic break coming up, but they keep winning games. They have 8 members of the Minnesota hockey team are going to go play in the Olympic Games in February in Italy. So a late night tonight, and some women's basketball tonight. The Golden Gopher women are at Michigan. Michigan's, I think, ranked 6th in the latest poll. That's at 5:30 tonight on the Big Ten Network for that one for Dawn Plitzoweitz's team. We got to roll. Thanks to our guests today, to Sam Herder and to Jeff Kolpack. A salute to our best of the weekend as well, and to our guy, Beau Brungard. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Great to be back. Hope you all enjoyed the show as much as I did. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.